All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kerry Kwan, and I am an academic advisor at Green River College. I normally advise aviation and engineering, but computer science is another major that has been growing in popularity. Let's see. The first thing that I do want to talk about is that computer science is widely popular and competitive. Uh, what that means is more and more students are majoring in that major, and the job prospects for that major is definitely increasing. Most studies show 13 to 15% job growth in computer science within the next 10-15 years. That is phenomenal since a lot of jobs that we know that exist today have a decreasing job rate, growth rate. So, and that's why there's a huge demand for computer science. But when there's a huge demand, there's also a huge supply of students, which leads to more and more competition. And so I would say right now, computer science is probably the most competitive major out there. That means freshmen and transfer students both have to, beat the comp beat the odds to get into the university of their choice. So if like an average GPA for transfer to a specific school was 3.5, as a computer science student, you would need to do even better. You would need to do about 3.7, 3.8. Okay. So I want to start by talking about the classes required to transfer as a computer science student. Um, so every school is a little bit different, but our recommendation is to fulfill the requirements for majority of the schools. And with majority of the schools, computer science requires basically every math, right? So you are expected to take math, calculus, multivariable calculus. Um, there's linear algebra, which is pretty universally required for computer science majors. And some schools require discrete mathematics. Some schools require differential equations. Some schools want statistics. So um, my rule, my overall advice for computer science students is just to take all the math classes offered at the community college level. This will qualify you for all the schools. Um, you'll see too why that is. For example, a lot of universities they offer computer science as an individual major, but they'll also offer mathematics and computer science together. Um, and the reason why they do that is because there's a lot of redundancies between those two majors. Both majors require a lot of math. Another core class that computer science students should take is the 1 year of engineering physics. Um, so in a semester school, that would be 2 semesters of engineering physics. At a quarter school like Green River, it's 3 quarters of engineering physics. Um, and most schools for computer science do require this component as for transfer. Um, in addition to this, you also want to take your English and math. I mean your college level English courses um, and your computer science courses. Um, they want at least 1 year of computer science, so that includes Python, Java, and data structures, or C++ and data structures. It doesn't, most schools won't require you to do both C++ and Java. But if you're really, really interested in programming and computer science, you want to learn as many languages as possible, the programming languages. So I do recommend that you take, if given opportunity, to take both. Um, let's see. So then what classes should I start with? You definitely should start with English and math, right? You are studying in America. you plan to transfer to an American institution or English speaking institution like Canada or the Australia, you definitely want to get your college level English as soon as possible. You also want to take math as soon as possible, beginning with first quarter, because like I said previously, there's just so many math classes to take. The sooner you start your math, the more likely you're gonna finish before transferring. The second thing I want to talk about is what universities to transfer to. So, US actually has a lot of top programs for computer science. Um, the the best schools that I know of are like Carnegie Mellon, MIT, Stanford, Berkeley. Um, those are always the top for computer science. The other schools in the top 10 are like University of Illinois, University of Washington, Georgia Tech, Cornell, Princeton, University of Texas, Austin campus, Caltech, University of Michigan, Columbia. Those would be the top universities. Um, as for Green River College students, they definitely transfer into those top 10 schools. I've personally transferred students to Berkeley, Illinois, um, Cornell, University of Washington, Columbia, Georgia Tech, University of Texas, University of Michigan, UCLA, University of Wisconsin. Um, so there are a lot of schools out there, and it is possible to transfer to these schools. Um, if you want to go to California, there's a lot of good California computer science schools as well, mainly because, the Silicon Valley is right there. So Berkeley obviously is the best UC school, but UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, UC Irvine, those are all also very good computer science programs. Um, if you want to go to Texas, definitely University of Texas in Austin. That's a big tech hub as well. And then University of Texas A&M. The Midwest is really popular with computer science as well. University of Illinois, as I mentioned, is in the top 10. University of Michigan, University of Minnesota is very good. Wisconsin, Ohio State University, those are all top schools as well. In the East Coast, my recommendation would be something like, well, NYU is obviously one of the top, but there's University of Maryland is very famous. University of Pennsylvania, um, Yale, obviously top 10. New York University, Northwestern University. Um, Northwestern is more in the Midwest, but Northeastern is also very famous. Rutgers is good. Stony Brook for New York. Um, yeah. So there's schools everywhere. And like I said, wherever you decide to go, it's always going to be competitive, more competitive. So you always want to do better than the average student transferring there. So if UC Irvine's average is 3.6, as computer science majors, you want to do 3.8 or higher. If University of Washington average transfer is 3.6, 3.7, you know, I can tell you right now, University of Washington, Seattle computer science transfer students average 3.96, 3.95. So, and that's not guaranteed either. So you really definitely want to do better than the average student with this major. It's very competitive. One thing I do want to mention is most likely, if you get into the university as a different major and you plan to change your major to computer science, they're not going to let you do that. Um, when it's a very, very competitive major, it's what we call impacted major, and it's basically full. So if you go in as a non-computer science major and then you try to change your major after transfer, they'll probably say no, or you'll be in a long wait list. So I definitely recommend that if computer science is your primary major, that you transfer to the university as a computer science major. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between computer science and computer engineering. So, computer science is basically more theory. You're basically learning the different programming languages, and it's teaching you how to um, basically utilize these programming languages to create um, what's in your thoughts to something that's more practical, like a program. So it does give you more freedom. Computer engineering is you're applying that knowledge um, and improving upon what's already made. So, you know, as a computer engineer, you might be improving hardware and software. Um, but unlike computer science majors, you're rarely asked to create a new program from nothing, basically. Um, you're you would be as a computer engineer, you would be asked to improve upon a program that already exists. The pay for computer science and computer engineering are pretty similar. And I would say in some schools, computer engineering is a little bit easier to get in, but not necessarily easier to complete. They're about similar difficulties. Um, and the requirements are very similar as well, computer science and computer engineering. Job prospects as well. Computer engineering is expected to grow just as much as computer science within the next 15 years. And then, so I talked about the course requirements. I talked about school recommendations, what schools are good. I talked about the job prospects of computer science. Um, I do want to mention information technology as well. So there's a lot of, and IT is also, it's a fast growing field. Um, and people always ask me what's the difference between computer science and information technology. So information technology is, there's two components. They do a lot of networking. So cybersecurity is information technology. Um, if you see how sometimes you try to log into Green River website and the server is down, that would be IT departments' duties to maintain servers, to protect the servers. Same thing with webmail. Um, Another component of IT is also programming. They do programming to maintain the software integrity. So whether it's updates or fixing small issues, uh, that would be basically IT. So why do students consider IT? I think the requirements for IT and computer science are very different. So computer science, for example, usually in most schools fall under the Department of Engineering. And that's why you'll see a lot of similarities with requirements for engineering and computer science. So both majors require lots of math, lots of engineering physics. Um, but IT falls under the Department of Business because in today's world, every type of business needs an IT, right? Walmart needs IT, McDonald's needs IT. So a lot of schools have IT under the umbrella of business. What that means is to transfer as an IT student, you would need to meet the requirements of a business student. So you would need to have econ, you would need to have statistics, You need to have accounting. Um, but at the same time, you wouldn't need to do engineering physics, and you wouldn't need to do all the, more difficult math like differential equations and linear algebra and discrete mathematics. None of those are required for IT. And so that is another route that students take if they don't feel confident in taking difficult math and difficult science classes. Um, so I do want to mention that Green River College also has an IT program that they offer a bachelor's degree for. And they also have a pathway program to the master's degree at University of Washington Tacoma campus. So if an IT is something that you're interested in, Green River College is also a good place. If not, you can definitely transfer as IT to a different university. You can also, if computer science is your main focus, definitely transfer to university as computer science major. Top 10 schools. It really depends on how well you do. Like I said before, it is very competitive, but every year students have been successful in transferring to top 10 universities. Um, so, I expect a lot of students going into this major to understand the difficulties and also understand the expectations because, like, you do need to do better than the average student to transfer as this major. Um, but with great difficulty, there's great rewards, right? So, it is a skilled major. That means as soon as you graduate, there's going to be jobs that only require computer science majors. Um, and job prospect is good. So that's the price that you pay, right? The more difficult the major, the usually there's better rewards, better pay, better opportunities. Okay, and I will wrap up this live session. Um, Please feel free to email me if you have questions about computer science. Um, I will always try to respond as quick as I can. And maybe I will do another session since this is such a popular major. I will do another session later in the future. But yes, my email will be kkwon@greenriver.edu. That's kkwon@greenriver.edu. And yeah, thank you for joining me for this live session. Have a good one, everyone.